This is a little plumbing job I'm helping these guys do. We're down here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, believe it or not. We're almost in Texas, getting closer anyway. I didn't film yesterday. I didn't film any of the digging. I was just digging for sewer lines. They got all the sewer lines in yesterday. And they got a water line and an irrigation line we're going to bring under the footing right here. I'm just going to kind of uncover these a little bit so they can get them down deep enough. There's a fire line right under these. You can see the silver pipe that's coming up there. That's a fire main coming into the building. So these lines are probably about 36 inches deep, sitting on top of the fire main, which is down about 4 feet, I'm hoping. But anyway, just simple little job. We're gonna probably, if we get inspection, we'll get it covered up. Be heading home hopefully around noon, something like that. But like I said, I didn't really show anything yesterday. I'll probably film some today. Once we get started backfilling, I may film a little bit there. Anyway, just I think next week got some footings coming up. It's been slow, the weather's been bad. This is March 4th, 5th or something. That's 5th, I think. But must have that fire main down there about 5 feet. It down there, so. Hey Gary, can you just follow that pipe down and see? Just kind of take. Oh, is it right there? Okay, let me pull some more out of there. They must have them dudes buried deep, but we need to get them uncovered a little bit so we can get a curve in them that's not just extreme. They're using a black poly pipe for the service lines. The plumber will be using a PEX pipe to come out with there. So I think I just hit some gravel maybe. That's a pretty good indication we're getting close. It's leveling off there. We'll peel back just a little bit more. These lines are not live yet, so worst case we get into one, the plumber just runs a little more PEX pipe out there to it. It's starting to turn there? Okay. Can you kind of pull them pipes to one side and I'll clean out a little bit around them? I was hoping he'd grab the end of them up here. Okay, dude. There you go. That's what I need to do right there. Okay, so now we can kind of punch out a little bit of dirt around them there. Get it to where they can lay them down. I don't want to get too deep there. So we stayed in the hotel down here last night. This job's about 2.5 hours from my house. Pretty good haul. Didn't particularly want to come and do it, but you know, it's part of doing, when you get in with a customer, if you're any good, they like you, they're gonna have you go deep. They'll have you do things you sometimes don't want to do, but you know, what do you do? If the schedule allows for it, I usually take care of them. But like I said before, I normally take care of the first come, first serve best I can. I try not to pick favorites. But there are some customers that I would not go out of town for. There's some customers I quit working for, so you know, there is that. We'll get dug down here beside this a little bit, and that way they can kind of lay that down. We're plenty deep for frost, especially down here in Ardmore. Be careful not to snag the fire line. They may have a coupling down here or a bell. So if you notice, when I'm digging over them pipes, I'm using a laid back attitude on the teeth. I don't have them straight up and down. I've got them tilted away from me. And that way, if you do hit a piece of pipe or a bell, it'll hop up over it normally. Unless you're lucky and it'll just snap it. But anyway, that's the theory. So we should be good enough there. They should be able to get your pipe in, and we'll backfill a little bit, and I'll get back with you. It's gonna be a good day. Put those lines right beside the fire main down at the bottom. We're fixing to have a little cave in here. But you can just barely see a speck of blue pipe down there they uncovered. That's the main. So it's about 3.5 foot deep right there. So normally when you use poly pipe, it's copper tube size or CTS. This is iron pipe size or IPS. PEX is copper tube size, just to kind of let you know. But we're going to uncover this back a little bit more so they got some room to straighten it out, get it where they need it. But anyway, there's different, both of those pipes are considered 2-inch. The IPS, the iron pipe size, and the copper tube size, they're both 2-inch pipes, but the diameters of them are different, if that makes any sense. But this is another one of the things you get into when you're doing plumbing and water pipe. Yeah, shit, some gravel there. I don't know what that's about. Hopefully there's not another something going on there. But I'm gonna dig down beside. You can kind of see the black dirt is the native dirt, I guess, or the undisturbed, and the reddish dirt or the yellow, well, I don't know, tan, I guess. Tan's the right word for it. The tan dirt is the ditch line, so you can kind of see the edge of the ditch line there. Should be able to kind of safely dig there with the more aggressive tooth. Hopefully. Still gonna kind of go slow at it a little bit. It just hit something. I don't know what that was. I thought that main line went out straight, but it might not. I don't know. Kind of looks like it curves. Or maybe they've got a maybe it angles here. I don't know. Gotta be careful. I was gonna tell you also, I did replace the accumulator valve on the B95, or the accumulator, not valve, but the accumulator. I went ahead and ordered a new one. I put it on here, and the old one, when I took it apart, was full of oil. It didn't have any more gas in it, so it did need an accumulator. And the only difference I've noticed so far is my controls are working just a bit smoother, which is not a bad thing. So it's kind of odd that thing could have been blown out for a long time, and I didn't really notice it. I guess maybe it kind of did it gradually. But I seem to have a little bit better response on my joysticks than I did before I changed it. So I checked the seals on the pilot relief valve, and the seals look fine. I think I hit a tree root down there is what I hit. So the seals didn't blow out this time, but I got a new accumulator on it. And here a while back, I didn't video any of it, but I did take the boom off. I replaced the swing tower with one I got some salvage parts here a while back. So replaced the swing tower, and also replaced the rod on this boom cylinder, the one nearest to us here. The chrome had been badly scored up from a bad repair. I had a hydraulic shop repair one of my cylinders one time, and I think what they did is they put it together dry. They didn't put any oil on any of the... Man, that ditch makes a curve right there. I'm gonna have to move over. But anyway, so I'm gonna take some off the edge there a little bit. Anyway, the hydraulic shop that rebuilt it, I got the cylinder back. I brought them the cylinder. I brought them a brand new hauling kit. It was one of them deals. They said, yeah, we got time to do it. We can get it done in about a day. And there's a nut on there that's about 1,400 foot-pounds of torque, or a bolt. And they've got the equipment to take them apart, so I thought, well, I'll let them do it. Well, that'll be the last time they ever do a cylinder for me, because I got it back and ran it about 3 days, and the chrome on the cylinder, I kid you not, started turning black. And I've never seen one do that before or since, but it ended up, I had to run it for a little bit like that because I was in the middle of a project. And I called the hydraulic shop, and their excuse was, well, those new kits they sell for those cylinders, they just fit so tight. We've had some other guys complain about that. I said, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, we can build you a new rod for about $750. I said, I don't think I'm going to let you guys do anything else to my machinery. And, you know, so, not going to name names. They might be a decent shop. Maybe I just had a bad experience. You know, that can happen. But anyway, at the time, all I could do was take it apart myself, put a new kit in it, which I did. And I took some emery cloth, I cleaned the rod up the best I could, got the black off of it, and ran it for a while. And I have not had any trouble with it, except for the chrome was scored pretty deep, so it would seep almost all the time. It didn't really leak, but it seeped. So I ended up, when I got these new parts, I got some new cylinders, or not new, they're used, but they were in pretty good shape. But I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I put my boom down, now it doesn't lean left and right like it's wobbly. That's part of having that part replaced at the swing tower. Swing tower on these is kind of a bad design because they put bushings in everything except for where the boom connects at the bottom. So those are just, the pins don't rotate, but the pins do move when you're digging, and they wear the holes out. And that part there alone is, I don't know, probably $3,000 or $4,000. Maybe more. I haven't ever I don't know that I've ever priced one, but I was going to have mine rebuilt, and then I came across these parts, and I said, well, shoot, there's the deal right there. So I got two complete Backhoe booms. They're off a B75B, which is the same parts, just a different model tractor for Backhoe. So, I don't know where I was going with this story, but anyway, just going to tell you that I got that replaced. At some point, I'm going to take one of the booms and paint it, and I'm going to replace the main stick on here with it. The thing about the booms, they didn't have extend-a-hoe, so I don't have those parts. I do have the bucket cylinder. I've got two extra bucket cylinders, two extra crowd cylinders, and extra boom cylinders. I've got some extra swing cylinders, extra stabilizer cylinders. So I'm set for parts for a little bit on the B95. Why this ditch turns like that, but sure don't want to snag it main. some guys asked me a little bit about how I use the front bucket to grade with, and I want to just kind of show you if you're backfilling a ditch and you're kind of trying to get through it quick. I like to just push in. I don't dump every time. I leave the bucket just basically full of dirt and just push like a dozer. Try to keep the bucket flat with the ground so you're not digging in. But like when I'm making adjustments for up and down, I don't raise the loader up and down. I basically just use the bucket tilt, kind of like you would if you were driving a skid steer or something like that. But we're going to kind of push this in here a little bit. And I am going to dump some here because it's a little bit low. But like I say, you can backfill a ditch a lot quicker if you leave your bucket full of dirt and just push in from the side. And then we'll kind of come back. I'm going to kind of use the edge standing up like this, just to kind of knock down the high spot. I'm going to go ahead and walk my tires over in the ditch. It's a little rough running over humps and stuff like that, but you can kind of work it down, try to get all the air out of it and pack it a little bit, and then when they run the compactor over, it'll make life a lot easier on them. And we'll just kind of, you can actually kind of windrow your dirt when you're backing up if you turn as you're doing it. I'll go down here and get this packer. The other end, move him up here. The plumber wants to recheck some measurements on it, so like the bathroom, he wants to recheck before we backfill it. So we can't backfill everything here, but we can get a lot of this done. I'm going to dump in around this clean out so it doesn't knock it over. And this is really good. It's really good backfill dirt here. It's almost sandy. I'll just kind of heap that up a little bit over that. And I can't really wheel roll right up next to the out, so we'll just basically take the bottom of the bucket and kind of give it a little flattening there. That sun is warming me up today. I'm probably overdressed. I'm not going to do this quite the same as I did up there because I don't really have the pipe bedded down yet, so you want to be sure your pipe's got dirt on both sides of it before you start shoving dirt in the ditch, just to, make sure the pipe doesn't move sideways, I guess. Backfilling with a loader can be harder for some people than digging with the backhoe. That's a lot of people would prefer to have a mini excavator to do, or not a mini X, but a skid steer to do their backfilling with. A lot of guys get on a backhoe and you see them jumping up and down. The tires off the ground. When I'm doing any kind of grading or loader work, I try to keep all four wheels on the ground all the time. unless I'm trying to do a cut that's really hard dirt, I might lift the front wheels off the ground a little bit. But your back tires determine the level. So if you got your back tire sitting on level ground, your bucket's going to be level. If you need to tilt, you can you can move your backhoe to one side or the other. You can get a little bit of a tilt out of it. If you need to make an angled cut or do a little bit of a slope, it works pretty well. Unless your tires are aired up too tight. We'll kind of run the tire over that best we can. We can't get all of it. This backhoe is really balanced well. It doesn't have a lot of... I've been on backhoes where you give them a little gas and they rear up the front end. That's not good. And use the turning brake, you know, you can kind of push dirt sideways a little bit in the front bucket. Kind of a tight area here, so that's about the best I can do with that for now. I'm going to let him compact it, then I'll come back in and dress it up. Kind of see these high spots. I'd say the best way to grade with, like if you're just flattening dirt, the best way is to use the bottom of your bucket for the guide. Set it to where your front tires still have a little bit of ground pressure. Make any small adjustments in depth with your tilt. Don't raise up and down like this. That's what gets you hopping up and down. I think most people that try to use backhoes don't understand them, and they get frustrated. And it is frustrating. Once your front tires are off the ground, it doesn't matter how much higher they go. You're not going to gain anything. So, just best practice, keep the front tires planted on the ground. They don't have to be, you know, up a foot in the air. Get your front tires a foot in the air, it doesn't matter what you do. You're just looking goofy at that point. Now this pad is, you can see it's leaving ruts in it. So there's only so much you can do with a pad like this to get it level. When I get down to the end of it, I'll kind of show you a little bit more about how to deal with that. Right now I've got to move it. I kind of relocated some dirt to get it out of the way of some plumbing, so I need to throw it back. And I don't want to tear out all these string lines. They're still using them. The electricians are still using them, and plumber maybe too, I don't know. But anyway, I'm just going to throw some dirt over here to the side. Got a 2-inch pipe coming off the top of that one, so try not to throw any big clods in on top of it. Get it bedded in around that 2-inch Y coming off of there, and I'll kind of press down sides of it a little bit. So what we got going here is I just kind of took the loader. I don't know when my camera quit. I think it quit a while ago, but I took the loader and kind of knocked down this pile on this side, or the spoil pile, so I could get on top of it. And basically I'm just going to put one lift in about 18 inches deep, and they're going to compact it, and then I'll come back here in a minute and well, it'll be more than a minute maybe, but I'll come back here in a little bit and we'll put some more in there. Go ahead and lift it up another bit. But this is just kind of how I do backfill. It's better if I can get on top of the ditch and get in line with it. And I actually could, but there's really no need to on a ditch this shallow. If it were deeper, I would probably try to straddle the ditch and try to get the dirt a little bit straighter and more compacted with the bucket. This stuff's not that bad. Making good progress. We're going to be done here pretty early today, looks like, unless something. They're just kind of going over measurements on the bathrooms, making sure that everything lines up with the plan. And it's a lot easier to change it now than it would be if you got the concrete poured. But I believe this is a furniture, it's going to be a furniture store is what this is going to be. Down in Ardmore, next to Swadley's Barbecue, you'll see this little job. Not a whole lot of plumbing in a furniture store, just some bathrooms and a couple of drains in the floor for some stuff. Not a big deal. This has been an easy. I got down here yesterday about 8:30, well, it's a little later now, 8:45 or something. Got most everything dug out by noon. Kind of helped the plumbers a little bit. Handed them some tools. I didn't really help them that much. Pretty easy day for me. Well, I think we're going to stop right there. We'll go back and we'll put another lift of dirt in that. And since the electrician's pipes are all over here, I'm just going to use a backhoe on this. To side load my boom any more than I have to. I do side load it, everybody does, but when I do, it's usually a small pile. I don't like to just stall out my swing cylinders on a big pile of dirt. Something a little lighter like this, not that big a deal. But it does cause extra wear on bushings and pins that just straight digging loads the pins evenly. Side loading, you're always pushing on one pin or one bushing on one side of the boom or the other. It's not an equal load. Not real good for things to do it that way. Anyway, that's about all I know about backfilling. I've had people say they'd like to visit with me and learn something. I usually tell them that wouldn't take but about 10 minutes to know about everything I know. At least what I can remember today. So we'll go ahead and kind of done with this over here. We'll kind of dress this up. I'll just kind of show you, it's kind of hard to describe it, but basically set your loader arms where your tires are on the ground and your bucket's flat. Make any small adjustments up or down with your, I kind of dug in a little bit right there. Make any small adjustments with your bucket tilt, and kind of redo this. When you're back dragging, it's always best to kind of use your bucket at this angle here. Well, when I get down to finish work, I may use my bucket more flat. Well, I'll show you what I mean here. Try to knock down the humps like this. Get that pretty much flat. Come up in here and kind of use the bottom edge of the bucket, and then we'll put some down pressure on it. Just backfill. Now you don't want to see dirt coming up behind your bucket, because that means you're basically putting dirt in the pins and bushings on your pivot. There are times that happens and you have to do it, but try not to. Try to keep a little bit of tilt where the dirt will roll under the bucket, and let your cutting edge do the flattening there. You may kind of have to rework this a little bit. You can kind of see my backhoe's rocking back and forth a little bit, and that's basically because there's a ditch here that the electrician's backfill that's not quite smooth. I'll blame it on somebody else. That's the next thing a good operator needs to understand, is how to make good excuses that make you look good. See, it's not just about being able to do work. It's about, you know, if something don't look quite right, you gotta know how to make it sound like you know what you're talking about, and it's not your fault. does it. I'm just kind of kidding. I hope you understand. I'm going to try to kind of windrow the top of that. I've got a pretty good bucket full of dirt here. Not completely full, but I got enough in there I can kind of shove this dirt off to the side and make a little windrow. Kind of wheel roll down the top of that. Hey, are you ready to backfill all of that? I don't know. I'll leave a little bit of an extra pile here. Some of this I think is electrician's dirt, but get these water lines situated and get some dirt packed in there, and then they'll be ready to glue that drain line back in place.